tonight's class, we're going for a very relaxing theme tonight. This is a very, very busy time of year, and so I think it's a great time to come together and slow down. Don't think about your shopping lists or the gifts you have to wrap or the family that you have to deal with. We're going to let all of that go tonight and just focus on a nice, relaxing class, thinking about joy and finding the happiness in the season, spending time together with our loved ones, whether that means virtually this year or in person, and maybe just letting go. So if there's anything that you had happen this week or today, try to leave it at the door, leave it on your mat, leave it here behind you, and let's get rid of that stress and anxiety tonight. We'll do some nice flowing work tonight too. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start in a laying down position. If you can, I would say keep your legs crossed and come down. If that's not comfortable for you, then please feel free to have legs out straight. If you have knee issues, then straighten the legs. I'm going to go ahead and start our playlist. And close your eyes and start to slow your breath. And if you fall asleep now, that's okay too. I'll wake you up when it's time to move. So just relax and close your eyes. Take your right hand to your heart and your left hand to your belly. Start to feel the breath flowing in and out. Relaxing the shoulders so you're melting down into your mat. Start to clear your mind and leaving behind anything stressful. Just breathe. Slowly start to open up your eyes, and we're going to take our time coming up to a seated position. If you have fallen asleep and you want to stay there, that's okay too. Hopefully feeling a little bit relaxed as we ease into our practice tonight. I want you to stay in a comfortably seated position. We're not going to push ourselves too hard yet. One of the best things that we can do in times of stress is to use our breath to slow ourselves down a little bit. So before we move into our flow part of practice tonight, let's do a little bit of a breathing exercise. Some of you may have done this with me before. It's probably my favorite breath work to do, called Bumblebee Breath. So what we're going to do here is you're going to cover your eyes with your fingers, and you're going to block your ears with your thumbs, okay? So what this is going to do is we're going to, as we exhale, we're going to keep our lips together. We want a little bit of a vibration as we hum like a bumblebee when we exhale, okay? That vibration automatically is going to help us to reduce stress. So as an example, I will demonstrate for you here. Move my mic a little bit so it's not too loud. Closing the eyes, we big inhale in, exhale. Inhale and find your own pace here, guys. Close your ears and you do that kind of exhale. It sounds very loud inside your head, but I trust you. Trust me, nobody else is hearing it like that. Everyone is hearing themselves, okay? So don't be self-conscious when you do that breath work. It's a really great practice that you can do anywhere. Don't do it if you're driving because you're closing your eyes. That would be dangerous. Do it at home or do it when you're not moving. But it really is a great practice. Use that vibration to release tension. Roll the shoulders down and back a couple more times as we get ready to do a little bit of a flow here. Really big shrugs, releasing any tension back there. And we'll start with some neck rolls. So take the head over to the right side. And we're just going to let the neck fall in its natural position. So imagine bringing the ear right down towards the shoulder. We're not going to push it down. We'll stretch it a little bit further in just a moment. And then switch sides, take it to the other side. If your neck is cracking, it's perfectly normal. Let it do its thing. That's why we're not adding the fingers yet. Some of us, self included, have been sitting at a desk all day, and so this is a great way to ease any tension that we've been working over a computer. And the second time you come to the side, let's take the right hand and gently place the right hand on the left side of the head, and just a tiny little pull to lengthen the stretch in the neck. Feeling it right here through the side and the back of the neck, maybe. Being very gentle, sitting up nice and tall as we do this. So imagine pushing the sits bones, your tailbone down into the ground, and then reaching long through the spine. Pull that belly button in. Continue to breathe. Let's switch sides. Hand comes down, head comes neutral center, and then we switch. Finding that pause in the middle to make sure that we're up nice and tall. Use that left hand to gently pull, easing down into the neck. Should feel good, not painful. And then come on back to center. We'll do the same thing forwards and backwards. Let's take the chin down towards the chest. Sitting up nice and tall. Feeling that stretch from the bottom of the neck Think about almost all the way down through the shoulder blades to the base of the head. Big neck stretch here. Keep sitting up nice and tall. Don't round through the back. And then come on back to neutral, pausing in the middle to find that nice straight spine. And then take it backwards. Taking the chin up towards the ceiling. Take it back to neutral. This time, option to take the hands behind the head. And as we come forward, we're going to very gently add just an ounce of pressure here to deepen the stretch. Keep the elbows wide. Keep the spine straight so it's not like we're doing a sit-up position here. Still sitting tall, only bending through the neck. Feel that stretch through that lower base of the neck. Down through the shoulders. And then taking it back on up very, very slowly. This time as you go back, keep the hands here if you would like and open up through the chest as well. Exhale, come back to center. And release those hands. Take a couple of rolls all the way around, big neck circles. Should be easier to do now that we've stretched a little bit. And then reverse direction. Last one here. Great job. All right, guys, let's take it to kneeling. I'm going to come to the back of the mat. And we're going to be working on a little bit of a child's pose to an all fours flow. Okay, so that being said, normally in child's pose we take the knees really wide, but you may not want to take them as wide as you normally do, or if you do take them wide, maybe take the feet as well. It'll make more sense as we start to move, okay? So from our kneeling position, we start up nice and tall, right? Our sits bones right on the back of the feet, right on the back of the heels. Our spine is nice and long. We're going to forward fold into child's pose, walking those hands out forward. And then reaching the fingers just a little bit further to really get that stretch into the arms and drop the forehead down to the mat. Continue breathing here. Let's not hold the breath. Think of this position as being restorative and relaxing. It actually kind of goes with the music. If only jingle bells had been on. From here, guys, planting the fingers. We spread the fingers nice and wide. We're going to shift the torso forward. Listen, yoga is all about allowing those interruptions to come in and pass right back out. So come on here, center, and you're going to take it to almost all fours, but then lean the hips slightly forward. So we're opening up the chest here and dropping the back, dropping the spine a little bit, almost like a cow position. And then push all the way back, coming into child's pose. So feel free to adjust the knees and the feet as needed to find a comfortable flow here. You may want heels closer together, you may want knees further apart, or opposite. Once you come back to child's, drop the head down to the mat. Find that relaxation, release. Stretching through the shoulders, releasing the shoulders and the chest down into the mat. And then we inhale, come on up, find all fours. Drop the belly as you come forward, and then shift the hips just slightly forward. We're prepping here. We're going to eventually work our way into Cobra here. So push back. We're going to do this just a few more times. So what we want to do here is we really did a great job loosening up the neck. We want that fluidity, that tension release to follow all the way down the rest of the spine. So as we come up, we start to kind of round through the back here, and then as we shift forward, we drop the belly this way, circling down, forward, push those hips, drop that back, almost like a mini back bend here, micro back bend. 2 more times like this, okay? Take it back. should feel good on the spine. If you're feeling any sort of pain in either one of these positions, lessen the curve. Okay, so if you come up forward and you arch your back and that doesn't feel great, then don't arch as much. You just maybe stop in quadruped instead of taking it a little bit further forward. We want this to feel good. Okay. Back one more time. Dropping that head and letting that chest fall even a little bit deeper each time. From here, guys, I want you to plant the elbows and bring the hands together over the head in prayer. Prayer hands here. Allowing the chest to sink further down towards the mat. Exhale, release the hands, take the hands back down to the ground. From here, we're going to come up, but here I want you to keep the hips stacked over the knees instead of pushing forward like we've been doing. And instead, you're going to walk the hands out a little bit further and drop the chest down towards the mat here. So go as far as you can comfortably go. Your goal here is to get the forehead down to the mat. But keep those hips stacked over the knees. Really allowing your chest to open up here. You should probably feel a stretch through the back, through those shoulder blades. Just dropping the arms, dropping the forehead, dropping the chest. Hang out here with some nice big deep breaths, big heart opener here. Maybe dropping the belly and the chest just a little bit deeper, stretching those arms out a little bit further. One more big deep breath here. As you inhale, keep those elbows down on the ground, separate the hands. We're going to shift the torso forward, coming into baby cobra. So elbows stay down, and we lift here. So we have the opposite position of the spine. That should feel good there. So you're just going to wiggle around here, get a little bit loose. Push those forearms down into the floor. Fingers are spread nice and wide. And we're just going to take our gaze up slightly. Slowly roll the chest on down. As your forehead comes down to the mat, lift back on up. Little baby cobra rolls. Aren't they cute, those little baby cobra rolls? Roll down. Back on up. This should feel good in the upper spine, the upper back. You are also working the muscles of the lower back. Just be careful here that you're not lifting too high. So it should feel good, remember, not painful. All right, we're going to take it up a notch. We're going to take it to full cobra. So this time as we roll down, you're going to reposition the hands closer to the shoulders and lift on up, curving the spine a little bit more if that feels okay, keeping those elbows slightly bent. And then we roll on down. Tops of the feet should be resting on the mat. We roll back up. So think of this nice big fluid roll here. Find your own flow. It doesn't have to match mine. And on your last one, let's see if we can take it all the way to up dog. So we roll on up. We're going to straighten the arms, lifting the thighs and the shins off the mat. Tops of the feet, palms only, gaze up. Don't hold your breath. And then tuck the toes and push the hips on up, coming into down dog. Taking both heels down towards the floor, pushing away with the fingertips and the palms. Hips are up towards the ceiling, your gaze behind you between the legs. Feel free to walk the dog. Walk those legs out one at a time. to really warm up the calves and the hamstrings. Especially if you haven't moved much today, take some time letting these muscles get warm and stretchy. And then taking both heels down, hold here. Slowly walk the toes all the way forward to meet the hands, coming into a nice forward fold. Take your time getting there, and if you need to soften through the knees, perfectly okay. Let the torso hang here for just a moment. Inhale, halfway rise. Nice flat back here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms come all the way up to the top. Take your time here. We're going to keep the hands lifted. We're going to sink it back into chair pose. So we're gluing those legs together. We're pushing the hips back. We're pulling through the core. And we roll the shoulders down and back. Hang out here for just a moment. We're going to inhale big. Reach the arms up even further. Exhale, take those arms over to the side. Like you're handing a big present to somebody behind you. For some reason you don't want to turn around. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hand that present to the other side, reaching here. Inhale back on up, one more time each side. Getting these twists going, getting the flow. Detoxing those internal organs. One more time, other side. We're going to come back on up to center. From here, you're going to take your right foot. You're going to step the right foot back, coming into warrior one. So the hips are square to the front. Arms are still lifted up in front. Two different train tracks. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to turn those hips forward. Back foot planted at 45 degrees. Maybe sink just a little bit deeper. From here, the hands are up in front. We're going to reach the arms down behind us. Interlace the fingers and open up through the chest. Roll all the way forward, bringing the arms behind you so that your left shoulder is coming towards the left knee. So you're coming forward slightly at a diagonal. Perfect. Big hip stretch there on that left leg. Come on up, roll on up, keep the arms behind you. Exhale forward. Back on up. We're going to do two more of these. Forward. Inhale up. On this last one, if you'd like to lift the arms up a little bit more as you come forward, deepen that stretch on the inside of that left thigh. Take those arms up overhead. Really deep hip stretch here. Really good core work here. And then slowly exhale, releasing both hands down to the mat. Turning the back toes, we come into high lunge. And then drop that knee all the way down. Crescent lunge. So we release the toes here. Step that front forward more if you need to so that knee is not tracking past those toes. Back foot is relaxed. Right hip pushing down towards the mat. Hands can stay right here on the floor to assist you, or you can take the arms on up. Exhale, hands come back. Open up through the chest. Lots of heart openers tonight, guys. Exhale, taking the hands to either side. We're going to tuck the back toes. We're going to straighten the front leg and straighten the back leg, planting that back leg back. We're coming into pyramid pose now. So we're at about that 45-degree angle with the back leg, and then straightening that front leg, feeling a big stretch through the left hamstring, keeping the hands down on the mat for assistance. If this is too deep for you, you can bend that knee, okay? If the straight leg is too much, we're going to find a little bit of a flow here. So we're going to take this straight leg, we're going to bend it back, turn the toes with us. We come back to that low crescent lunge. Release the toe. Toes, Release all the toes, not just one. Tuck the toes, come back on. Plant that foot, pyramid pose. One more time, take it all the way forward. Drop that knee, crescent lunge. Release the toes, push the hip down towards the ground. And then tuck the toe, plant the heel. Pyramid pose one last time. Planting both of the palms down and turning the right foot so that we're back on the toes. We're going to step the left foot back to meet the right, come into down dog. Inhale, shift it forward, high plank. Exhale down, chaturanga, all the way through for cobra. Tuck the toes, hips up, down dog. And then slowly walk those feet forward to meet the hands in a forward fold position. Letting the torso hang, get some air. Bending the knees if you need. Let gravity do the work here. Stretching all the way from the ankles through the back of the legs, down through the neck. Inhale, halfway rise to a nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms come all the way up. We reach the arms long. We sink the hips coming into chair position. So the legs are glued together, the hips push down and back, the pelvis is tucked, chest is lifted, and the core is pulled in. Hang out here for 2 more breaths. On your next exhale, take those hands over to the left side, handing that big present to somebody behind you. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, other side. Inhale up. Exhale down. And up one more time, other side. Staying nice and low in your chair. Nice job, guys. Back to center. Keeping the arms lifted, we're going to step the left foot back, coming into warrior 1. So we're planting that back foot. We stay on different tracks so that the hips are square to the front, shoulders are square to the front, arms stay lifted. Reposition those feet as needed. Good. Looking great, you guys. Bring the arms down behind the back. Open up the chest. Well, that's why you're here. You didn't think I heard that, did you? We're going to forward fold. We're taking that right shoulder to the inside of the right leg. Now, don't worry about how far you're folding down. You just want to go to that slight diagonal position. Inhale back on up. Arching the back. Take the arms back down. Exhale, forward fold. Feeling a nice big stretch through that right hip here. Even though that right quad is doing a lot of the work, push back on up and reverse. Forward. We have one more of these coming up. Take it all the way back on up, and this time as we forward fold on the last one, option to take those hands up a little bit further, taking them overhead with you. Really deepening into the inner part of that thigh. And then exhale, release both hands, come down either side, turning the back toe. We come down into runner's lunge. And then we're going to drop that knee, release the toes, adjust that front foot as needed so that we can really sink into that crescent lunge, pushing the left hip down towards the mat. Feel that hip flexor stretch, giving a right quad a little bit of a break here. harder it is, the more you need it, right? You can keep your fingertips right here, or you can lift the arms all the way on up. Exhale, take the hands behind you, open up through that chest. And then slowly come on forward. We're going to plant those hands. We plant the back foot at 45 and straighten the front leg, coming into pyramid pose. Now you're going to feel that stretch through the right hamstring here. Adjust your feet as needed, right? So if you can't straighten that front leg and you want to be a little bit bent, that's perfectly fine. Legs can be closer together if they need to be as well. Shift it forward, turning the back foot onto the toes, dropping the knee, crescent lunge. Back to that hip flexor. Planting that back heel, we're going to straighten both legs, pyramid. Taking it back forward, crescent lunge. Really focus on pushing those hips down towards the floor to get the benefit of this stretch. The back toes should be relaxed here. Good. And then last time, we're going to plant that back foot, plant the heel, straighten those legs, pyramid pose. From here, turning onto the back foot, we lift the heel, we plant the palms and the fingers, we step the right foot back to meet the left, coming into down dog. Push the hips up towards the sky, the heels down towards the ground. Gaze between the back legs, pushing away from the ground, shoulders are down and back. Inhale, forward, high plank. Exhale, down, chaturanga. All the way through, Cobra. Take the knees nice and wide, push the hips back, child's pose. Nice work, you guys. Sink down here and rest. Slowly walk the hands back towards the knees and come on into a kneeling position. Come upright for a few minutes, let the blood flow in the opposite direction. Bring the knees together here. And you want to be in a comfortably kneeling position. If kneeling is not comfortable for you, feel free to come to a seated position. We're just going to lift the arms all the way up, taking the right fingers around the left wrist. We're going to reach on over to the right. Think about a big stretch all the way through the left side body. Inhale back to center, switching sides. Bring the fingers around the right wrist and reach over to the left. Back to center. We're going to walk the hands back out in front. We're going to come back to down dog. And we're going to work our way into some half pigeon work. So we'll work our hips a little bit more, stretch our glutes a little bit, continue stretching our hip flexor. Planting those feet, tuck those toes, push the hips back on up. From here, we're going to inhale, the right toes rise. Drop that right foot over to the left. Open up that hip. And then give their ankle a nice little whirl here. Changing direction, just loosening up through the ankle. And then we're going to straighten the right leg, come back to center. This time as we come down, we're going to bring the right leg underneath the body. the right leg coming parallel to the top of our mat, and then drop the knee down, drop the back knee, and we want the hips to stay centered. So we don't want to turn out. If this is too much, always feel free to bend that back leg, okay? I'd rather your hips be square to the ground and you bend that back leg so that you're getting the right stretch. If this is a troublesome pose for you, remember you can bend that front leg in too. It does not have to be parallel. That's just what we practice for. If this is not an easy pose for you, what you can do at home is take some pillows or rolled up blankets and place them right underneath you here. It's going to lift you up and allow you to relax a little bit more into the pose. If you're relaxed and cozy and comfy, take those fingertips. Imagine there's a cupcake underneath each palm, and you don't want to smush those cupcakes. Or cupcake fingers here. And then you lift up and reach your chest towards the sky, a little back bend here. Feeling a big stretch through the left hip flexor maybe. And then exhale, forward fold. Sleeping half pigeon. Drop the forehead all the way down. Focusing that stretch on that right glute muscle here. Try to relax into this pose. If it feels okay, maybe take the arms out in front. That's going to allow you to stretch a little bit deeper. If that's too much, bring the arms back in. Bring the hands back in. From here, we're going to take the right knee towards the center of our mat. We're going to work our way from half pigeon into cow facing pose. We're going to bring the left leg, swing it all the way around, and stack it on top of the right knee. So we've got left knee on top, right knee on bottom. And your ankles can be close to the body or they can be further out, whichever feels good to you. Just make sure they're parallel. And wrapping those hands, those fingers around the ankles, sit up nice and tall. Big, nice, long, tall spine. Exhale, forward fold. Fun move here tonight. You ready for this one? This one you can take home and show your friends. You're going to plant your feet. Take both hands to the right side. Both hands over to the right. Yeah, we're good. We're going to push up. Walk the hands all the way around. And now you're in cow facing on the other side. There you go. See, you got it. Don't overthink it. There you go. Keep walking those hands. Hey! Party tricks. It's magic. Or just stand up and get into cow facing on the other side. That's okay too. But you want to make sure that the right knee is now stacked on top of the left. And again, ankles positioned so that they're parallel. Wrap the fingers around the ankles. Sit up nice and tall. Big long spine. Inhale here. Exhale, forward fold. Remember, we're leaving any stress behind. Everything's left on the mat tonight. Slowly start to roll it on up. And from here, we're just going to swing the right leg all the way back behind us. So we're coming into half pigeon on the other side. You want that left leg to be, or you're aiming for that left leg to be parallel with the front. It doesn't have to be. The heel can be in closer to the body. Back leg can be bent. The most important thing is that these hips, you don't want to turn out here. Okay, that's not going to get you the stretch that we're going for. You want to make sure the hips are square to the ground. And that's where you might need to bend those legs a little bit more until you're more comfortable with the hip stretches. This is a challenging pose for tight hips, so it's a great one. If it's hard for you, do more of it, right? Let's find those cupcakes. cupcakes underneath the fingertips. Don't smush those cupcakes. Push the chest up and away from the ground, taking the gaze up towards the ceiling. Little micro back bend here. And then exhale, forward fold. Bringing the forehead all the way down if you can. You can bring the forearms down to the ground and relax the forehead there. Or if you'd like to try taking it a little bit deeper, reach the hands out straight in front, then there's no other support and you're really sinking down into that left hip. Of the feet together. Continuing with our hips. Now that our hips are nice and stretched and open, we'll take it to butterfly pose. Bring the soles of the feet together and pull the heels in as close to the body as you can. Bringing the palms to the knees, but we're sitting up nice and tall, so a lot of times when we come in here to this position, we start to roll forward, right? Makes it a little bit easier. I want you to sit up tall. Try not to roll forward. And then try to put a gentle, gentle, gentle pressure on the knees, trying to get the knees a little bit closer to the ground. I know, as soon as you start to do that, you want to do this, right? Don't hold your breath either. You're like, I got it. I'm up straight. Now what? No, don't do that.
You pass that.
Yeah. You're supposed to look comfortable, remember? So from here, keeping the spine nice and straight, release the hands from the knees and wrap the fingers around the toes. Now it's a little bit easier to sit up straight because you have something to hold on to. And then big inhale. Exhale, lift the torso up over those legs and forward fold. Big hip stretch here. Straight in front. Feel like we haven't straightened our legs in a little while. So wiggle those legs out a little bit. Maybe wiggle the hips side to side to where you're sitting firmly into the sits bones. We're sitting nice and comfortably, legs out straight. We're going to inhale, the arms come all the way up. We're going to exhale forward, keeping a nice flat back. So again, we lift the torso up over and lift forward. Good. Keeping your chest open. We're not rounding down. We want to keep that chest open. Maybe that means your hands are on your shins or the ground next to you, or you can go all the way to the toes, whatever feels good. It's okay if you feel a stretch even through the back of the legs here. It's very normal for you to stretch, especially as you keep your back straight, right? So when we curve the spine in this, we lessen the stretch through the back of the legs sometimes. We're kind of caving in. If you straighten up, you're going to feel it a little bit deeper. Maybe even all the way through those glutes. Continue to breathe here, and as you exhale, think about maybe just inching down, maybe a half an inch deeper. Letting these muscles really relax into this. They're going to fight you for the first part of the stretch. Eventually they'll give up and let you take the stretch. Slowly start to roll it on up. One vertebrae at a a time. Here's where we are curving through the back, and then we get to the top and sit up nice and straight. We're going to take the right foot and plant it next to the inner part of the left thigh. Hug that knee in. Again, we're not going to round down into it. We want to sit up tall. Option here, if you'd like to take the bind, you're welcome to give it a whirl. We're going to lift the right arm. The right elbow is going to come to the inside of the right knee. And then we're going to turn the arm around the back. And then reach for the fingers to grasp and then lift on up. I said try. It's optional. Slowly, if you did find the bind, we want to slowly release the arms. We don't want to slingshot the arms back. So roll on up, like boing. Come on up, and as we come to the top, we're going to take the left hand to the outside of the right foot and extend the right leg out. Right arm comes up and twists back. You can keep that leg bent if you need to. Keeping the right leg lifted, we're going to circle that right arm around to the forward, grasp for the inside of that foot, maybe take it up another few inches. Ooh, big hamstring stretch. Try not to lean back into this one. Yeah, don't worry, you all did it. I'm not talking to any one of you in particular, you all did it. Don't worry, I do too. It's natural to lean back there. But when you try to consciously sit up a little bit taller, you're going to feel that you get a deeper stretch out of it. And again, you can keep that leg bent. If straight is too much, we're not going for pain here. This is not no pain, no gain. This is ease into the stretch, okay? And then slowly, slowly, slowly lower that leg back on down. Extend the leg out straight. Let's wiggle those legs again. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, flat back, forward fold. I bet you'll find you can get a little bit deeper this time. Maybe. And if not, no worries. You can maybe feel how much looser your right leg is now after all of that. Your left leg probably feels a little bit tighter as you do this forward fold. But don't worry, we'll get it caught up. We won't wobble out of here lopsided tonight. Well, if we do, then that was something you had before this class. Keeping that flat back, be cautious not to crunch those organs on the inside and round on through. We want to make room for breathing. Slowly roll on up. Sitting up nice and tall, take the left foot and plant it on the inside of that right thigh. Wrap those hands around the knee. Give yourself a nice big hug, but sit up nice and tall. Next week I'll have to bring some festive lights. So here you stay right here, or you have the option to try that bind. If you want to take the bind, we're going to lift the left arm up. We bring the elbow to the inside of the left knee. We turn the palm around the back. So it's like we're wrapping the elbow around, and then we try to reach the hands together, clasp the fingers together. If we are finding the clasp, then you want to lift on up. Again, we never want to be crunching and rolling down. We want to lift up, open that chest. Feeling a nice big stretch, I bet, through that left shoulder if you found the bind. It's a really great shoulder stretch. And don't worry about it if you're not there. Just something fun to work towards. Continue to breathe. Don't hold the breath here. And then exhale. We're going to slowly release those fingers so the arms don't go flying back. Come forward. As we lift this leg, we're going to take the right fingers to the outside of that left foot and extend the leg out. We lift that arm, comes all the way around the back. It's okay, you can bend the knee if you need to. Not a competition here, right? Just work as far into it as you can. And then bringing that back arm forward, we grab the inside of that leg. Bend the leg as much as you need to. Straighten that leg as much as you can, not leaning back. And then pulling that leg up maybe just a few more inches. One leg's usually tighter than the other two, so don't feel bad if you're having a harder time on one side than you did on the other. Perfectly normal, by the way. I'd be amazed if you were perfectly balanced. Exhale, slowly lower down. Taking the legs out long on your mat, long ways on the mat. Inhale, the arms come all the way up. This time, instead of our forward fold, we're going to roll the spine down one vertebrae at a time until we come all the way into final Shavasana. You have made it, guys. Let your legs fall out to the sides, the feet comfortably falling out. Arms are resting comfortably down by your sides, palms facing up. Let the shoulders relax into the mat. We did a real big number on those hips, so let those hips just relax into the mat. All of your muscles relaxing here. Close your eyes and find nice, slow, deep breaths. Clearing your mind. Taking a moment here to leave any stress behind. Making a conscious effort to get rid of it now. So you walk out of these doors with an open heart and a clean mind and feeling a little bit lighter. As you relax here, I'm going to come around with some essential oils. They are safe for anywhere on the body, so feel free to rub that on your forehead or wrist or heart, wherever you feel the need. Christmassy blend here. Should relax you. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and toes, coming back to a wakeful state. And taking some nice, slow, deep breaths here. And when you feel ready, roll on over to your right side. Resting your head on your arm and taking a few nice, slow, deep breaths here. Winding down our practice. And then when you feel ready from here, coming up to a comfortably seated position. And you're welcome to stay longer and take a nap here too. Cozy in here and warm. Nobody wants to go out into the cold. So as you come into a seated position, roll those shoulders down and back, just like we did in the beginning of class. A few big last inhales and exhales here. Maybe shake the head and the neck a little bit side to side, easing out any last teeny bits of tension that you could possibly have left behind. And then inhale, the arms come all the way up, hands come together at the top, and then lower the hands to heart center, touching the thumbs to the chest. Find that mind-body, that hand-heart connection. Close the eyes. A few more deep breaths here. Feeling light and energized, peaceful, limber, stretched out. And hopefully leaving here with a feeling of contentment. I appreciate you guys coming and joining me for practice tonight, especially in this cold weather. Proud of you for coming out and making your way and putting the time for yourself and for practice tonight. Namaste. Thanks for coming.